Hello and welcome back to another video. We are today looking at one of the most exciting things that is coming up in the summer term. Now, I do love the summer term, as I've spoken about before. It's got so many fun things like sports day, and you get to go out on the field and play football. There's so many great things about teaching in the summer term. But one of the most exciting things always comes right at the end, and that is transition. So transition is when you get to meet your new class for the first time and you start to get to know them all and get to see who's who, what's what, how they're going to be working in your classroom, how things are going to go. You get to introduce them to the way you do things. And it's one of the most exciting things that I think you can ever do as a teacher, because one of the reasons I became a teacher was because I wanted new challenges, I wanted difference, I wanted to be moving around and not sat behind a desk. And so when you've been working with a class for a whole year, you get to know them, you know what they're like, you know all the routines, they know you, they know how things work, and all that kind of thing kind of gets a bit routine, a bit normal. And so like I've really enjoyed this past year working with the class. I've really enjoyed the classes I've had before that, and but you always get to the point by the end of the year when you're ready for a new challenge, you're ready for a new adventure kind of thing. And when you get a new class of children coming in and sitting down, and they need to get to know you, you need to get to know them, and it's just one of the most exciting times of the year when you first stand up in front of them and start talking, and they kind of start getting to know how things are going to work. It's a really exciting time for me, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I just thought today I'd have a talk about what type of things I'm going to be doing in transition, what type of things I think are important to do when you're in transition with a new class. And a lot of it does depend on how long you get. I think there's some years where we've only been able to do 1 or 2 days of transition. This year we're looking at doing more like a week. So it should be a really good time to get to know how things go and really get to know the class before they start in September, and they'll really get a good idea of what you're like and how you want to teach. Before we jump straight into that, I just want to let you know about a really exciting thing that I've just found that almost sounds too good to be true, but I did it, my wife did it, and it works. So this new exciting opportunity is an online bank called Chase. Now this Chase is basically a bit like Starling, a bit like Monzo. You sign up, they send you a bank card, and you basically have another bank account online. It's very straightforward. All you need to be is you need to be UK resident, paying tax in the UK, over 18, and have a driving licence or a passport. Now, the best thing about signing up to Chase is that they give you £20 free when you put £20 into the bank. So my wife and I found out about it over the weekend. We got referred by a friend, and I've got a referral link in the description down below, and if you use that link, then you will get £20 absolutely free. All you have to do is log in, sign up, it takes 5 minutes, and deposit £20. Once you put that £20 in, then in your rewards on the app, you'll get £20 free. And if you can transfer that into your own account and then withdraw all 40 straight away. It literally took between 5 and 10 minutes. And I deposited £20 in, and I took £40 straight back out again, and the account is now sat there empty. I've kept it there to help tell you guys out, because if you guys want a free £20, if you use the referral code down there, then you'll get your free £20, and they will send me a £20 as well. So it does help out both of us, but it's one of those things where, you know what, it's a free £20. It might pay for something to do over half term, it might pay for a takeaway at the weekend. Why would you not take that on? And it literally takes 5 or 10 minutes. So do have a look, click on the link down below and see if it's something that you want to do. But we're going to get into talking about transition and what is coming up. So the first thing I think is so important to get to know about transition is actually starts before you start transition. So before you do transition, before you stand in front of the class, you need to get to know a bit more about them, and that is so you need to go and talk to the class teacher. So I will sit down at some point over the next few weeks with the year 4 teacher, and I'll have a long discussion with her all about the types of children that are coming into my class, who they are, how they work, who works well with each other, who maybe doesn't work well with each other, what things motivate them, what do they like to do. And I'm just going to get to know the types of things that I'm going to need to know before I stand up in front of them, because it's all well and good standing up in front of a class and having a really good idea about how you want to teach, but if the way you want to do something just completely does not correspond to how the children wanting to learn, then it's not really going to go very well. So I have my own ideas in my head about how I want to do things next year, but I'm going to sit down with the year 4 teacher, and I'm going to have a chat with her, and we're going to kind of discuss about those things and discuss about the children and see just who and what is going to work well with me, with each other. And that's really important, to get to know those kind of basic things before you have a go at anything else, because there'll be some things about the children that you need to know, there's some things that you need to know who is up for the challenges, who's maybe not necessarily always up for a challenge, just needs to get a bit of work done, who maybe needs some time out sometimes with struggling a little bit with something. There's just so many different things. That's before you get into all the kind of the serious safeguarding bits that actually are really important to get to know straight away before you even start working with any of the children. So once you've had the discussion, that's when I'll really start my planning. And again, I've got my ideas in my head, but I really will start planning what I want to do with them. And normally on the first day is all about getting to know me and me getting to know them. So we'll do some fun activities. We'll do this often some things about like who you are, what's your background, where you're from, that kind of thing. We'll play some games where you have to stand up and find someone in the classroom that maybe has got the same colour hair as you, maybe it's got the same number of siblings as you, that maybe lives in the same road as you, that kind of thing. We'll just do those kind of fun games, because so they obviously all know each other already, but I can start getting to know them and who's who, what's what in the classroom. And I'll also talk about my expectations in the classroom on that first day. So that's where I'll kind of, first off, I'll set out how I expect them to be in the classroom. Now, I would have spoken to the class teacher from year 4 beforehand, and and I'll kind of adjust these to make sure I know they're going to work with the children. But there's some kind of basic things in year 5 that you really need to just get on board with and get on with. And the first one of those is things like working independently. So in year 5, working independently is a massive thing. It's about transitioning from lower Key Stage 2 to upper Key Stage 2, getting ready for year 6. They need to be able to get to the point where I can give them some work, we'll do a bit of work at the start about how it's done. They can take that in, practice it themselves, practice it all together, and then just sit and get on with the work. And that's something that does take a lot of practice, and pretty much the whole of the autumn term is building up to that. But it means by Christmas we should be at that point where actually the children are capable of working really well independently on whatever it is they're doing. So that'll be one of the things I do on that first day too, setting out the expectations of how work's done in the classroom, how it looks in their books, that kind of thing. Just be making sure those things are set out. Now that it doesn't mean I'm expecting them to be 100% on day one. Obviously there's going to be a lot of fun activities on day one, so we won't be spending a lot of time working in book, but it does mean that the ideas are there, the seeds are there to be planted, ready, so when we do start working in books, they already know what I'm expecting, and it'll just be a reminder for them from then on. At the start of every single lesson, they'll be seeing how their work should be laid out, and then they'll be doing it for me. So we're going to do all that, then we'll also have a talk, and we'll be doing some outside stuff, so we'll be going running around, playing at playtime, and I'll be getting to know them on the playground, seeing what things like, who plays well together, who doesn't necessarily play well together, and how that all kind of works as well. And it's just a chance to get to know everyone as quickly as possible, because especially if you're doing a full week, so I'm hoping at this school we should be doing a full week this year from Monday to Friday. So that means that actually we're not going to do kind of fun activities all week. By about the Wednesday we will be sat down and saying, actually, you know what, let's get started on some year 5 work. I know it's the end of year 4, but let's get the first couple of days year 5 work done. We'll get to know what we're doing, we'll get to know who we are, how it works, and that'll be really setting those expectations. So in September they're ready to come back into the classroom, sit straight down, get on with how they're doing, get on with what they were doing from before September. They would have forgotten most of what they did with me from the transition by September, because it would have been almost 2 months, and that's what happens when you don't really work for 2 months over summer. But that's okay, because we can pick it back up, do a quick bit of revision, and then get straight on with it. But the point will be that the expectations will be laid out already, the work in the books will be looking perfect already, everything will be there ready to just continue on with, rather than delay those expectations down again in September. So we'll be doing, we'll be doing some maths, we'll be doing a quick bit of writing. It'll just be like a paragraph, because we want to get one paragraph written, then written up neatly and kind of put up on the walls so they're ready to read it again and have it up on the walls in September. But it'll be, again, it's just those expectations are so important in transition time, to show the children that, look, this is what I expect of you, you can hit that. And one of the things I always talk about in year 5 with those expectations is the whole point of year 5, and I say this to the children every single year, the whole point of year 5 is one thing. The whole point of year 5 is to beat year 6, because the year 6 class are always my old class. Children I teach know that I've just taught that class, and I always tell them that those classes were pretty good, but we're going to be better. The whole point of our year group is to be better than year 6. We're going to show the year 6s up in everything that we do. So when we walk around the school, we need to walk around the school better than year 6. We need to walk into the assembly hall better than year 6. We need to sit down quieter than year 6. We need to behave better than year 6. We need to be more responsible than year 6. Everything's about beating year 6, and the children love it because they love a bit of competition, and I love it because it does get them working really hard, and they're not doing it for me, they're not doing it for themselves, they're just doing it because they want to beat the older kids. Who doesn't want to beat the older kids? When I was at school, I used to love trying to beat the older kids, be faster than them, stronger than them, better than them, and the children still love it now. So it's one of the things I always make sure that I do, and again, I set those expectations out from the transition. I say, look guys, all we're going to do this week, we're going to be better than that class, we're going to be better than the year 6s, we're going to show them up, we're going to work really hard, and they do really get on board with it, and it works really well. It's also a time to have a lot of fun though, so there's all sorts of things I do in my class. We're very lucky to have a full set of Chromebooks, one for each child, and so I make sure that we spend a lot of time getting the Chromebooks out and showing them how I expect them to be used, making sure they're set up with all their logins, making sure they've got all the work they need, all the websites they need bookmarked. So again, come September, everything's ready to get on, and we do things like, we do lots of Times Table Rockstars, we do lots of Blooket, we do lots of Google Docs and typing up work, we do lots of research. It's about teaching them to use the Chromebooks respectfully, teaching them to use them sensibly, efficiently, and have them as a learning tool, not just something to play games on. And they do get really good at using them again independently, so they know, like, when they finish their writing, they come to check it. They don't just sit there hoping for the best. They sit there, go, oh, I'm not 100% sure about that word, I'll get my Chromebook out and I'll check it. And it's all those things that you need to set up in transition to make sure that by September you're not having to set everything up again. They're just quick reminders, and then we get straight on with the work. So hopefully guys, this has helped you. This helped you get to know a bit more about transition. If you want any actual specific activity ideas for transition, then do let me know in the comments down below, and I'll hopefully get some sorted for you and show you some of the things I'm planning on doing. But as always, there's a new video on a Tuesday, a Friday and a Sunday, and I'll see you very soon.